Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So let me start the class and then. So we are in Unit 1. We have only covered in last previous three lectures SDLC models, integrating security into SDLC. Then we have discussed secure SSDLC, and we have also discussed the security requirements, design and architectures, and we have also discussed applying three important security principles in software development. Today, I am going to discuss threat modeling. After threat modeling, we shall discuss application security risk matrix in next lectures. So this is the topic of today's lectures. What is threat modeling? Today, we shall take only half hour theory lectures 11 to 11:30, and from 11:30, you have to give a quiz. That in that, I shall try to test what CTIS people learn in their ethical hacking courses and how MSCT people learn by their own the prerequisites of this course that CTIS people must have read in ethical hacking course. Based on the feedbacks, based on the answers, I will try to assume your knowledge level. Then I will make the slides, lecture slides and PPT for Unit 2 to Unit 5. So, what is threat modeling? And why we should model a threat in a software development lifecycle? Answer is no matter what methodology you are going to use, you can't neglect identifying and resolving design flaws. We should also learn how tactical threat modeling takes place in your ongoing software development lifecycle. So your firm or organization or your company has one or two, maybe tens or even hundreds of applications built and deployed. And now you want to create threat models for those applications, but why? The questions you may ask, so why we need threat modeling in software development lifecycle? So let us find out. So in order to discuss complete threat modeling, we should start with the application threat models. In application threat models, we identify potential flaws that have been there since the applications were created. And then there are new applications that your development teams are creating as we speak. You will want to create threat models for these as well. Threat modeling identifies risks and flaws affecting an application, no matter how old or new that application is. So it does not matter our application is old or new. We have to identify risks and flaws that are going to affect your application, and for that we make one threat modeling that identify risks inside your applications. So in order to conduct a thorough analysis of the software architectures, okay, let me Sorry, I got one call. Conducting a thorough analysis of the software architecture, business context, and artifacts, such as functional specification and user documentation, both allow your firm or organization or your company to discover important security and quality related issues. The threat modeling process offers a strategic practice by which you can think about the system characteristics. It also provides visibility into weakness that may affect not only the application but potentially the entire organization. So, how you scale your threat modeling capability? So you have one or two, maybe tens or even hundreds of applications already built and deployed. And you want to create threat models for all those applications. But again, questions come, sir, our company has developed maybe hundreds or thousands of applications. But why I have to develop a threat models? So common, why to identify potential flaws that have been there since the application was created. And of course, you also want to create threat models for new applications that are being built as we speak. No matter how large or small your software security group is, they likely have a full workload. Or maybe your organization does not have a SSG at all. Instead, you have a small number of developers with deep software security knowledge. In either case, you may not have the staff necessary to work on the threat models you would like to create. So in that case, should you abandon your goal of threat modeling the existing or no application? No. Not so fast. There may be still a way, and we have to find that way. So there are two common options to address scalability inside your thread network problem. Sorry, there was network problem. Sorry, there was network problem. Let me discuss this slide once. There are two common options in order to address scalability in your threat modeling capability. First is scale horizontally. Scale horizontally involves increasing the number of units doing the work. For example, adding more computers or adding more modules. Second is scale vertical. This involves increasing the capacity of whatever is doing the work. For example, more or faster CPU or more or faster memory or bigger or faster disks, maybe data center or maybe your storage capacity available on clouds. So again, questions arise. How does this translate into scaling your threat modeling efforts? Answer may be, well, for horizontal scaling, you need to increase the number of units doing the work. Or we can say number of persons making the codes or the number of programmers are already employed in this specific project. As such, you will want to either expand your SSG or bring in your resources who will be able to conduct threat modeling. But for vertical scaling, you will need to increase the capacity of whatever is getting the work done. Maybe you ask the SSG team to work more hours or increase the brain function of those conducting the analysis so they can work more. So for vertical scaling, you will need to increase the capacity of whatever is getting the work done. Maybe you will ask your SSG team to work more hours to increase the brain functions of those conducting the analysis so they can work more. But in practical, it is not possible. These are not realistic options, at least not to us. A good option would be to bring in more people to carry out the threat model. So, in order to create a threat model, it can take several weeks. The way in which the team conducting the threat model looks for flaws may require adjustment based on the SDLC methodology in use within your firm. No matter what methodology you utilize, you can't neglect identifying and resolving design flaws. So, in order to identify and resolve those flaws, you must understand that there are 5 primary activities that make up a threat models. And these are defining the scope and depths of the analysis. Second is gaining an understanding of what you are threat model. Third is modeling the attack possibility. Fourth is interpreting the threat models. And fifth is creating a traceability matrix to record missing or weak controls. So the questions arise from these lectures, maybe in your exam. So discuss the steps required to create a threat models. Or the second questions may arise, what do you mean by threat models? So if a questions will come, define the steps or defines the activities in order to create a or required to create a threat model, then you have to list these 5. First is defining the scopes and depth of the analysis. Second is gaining an understanding of what you are threat modeling. Third is modeling the attack possibility. Fourth is interpreting the threat models. Fifth is creating a traceability matrix to record missing or weak controls. So, in an ideal scenario, threat modeling should take place as soon as the architecture is in place. However, not all scenarios are ideal. No matter when you end up performing the threat model, understand that the cost of resolving issue generally increase further along in the software development lifecycle. The earlier you are able to identify potential attack and space those vulnerabilities, and more time and cost efficient those resolutions will be. But always remember, it is better to build security in than it is to build security on. But again, not all scenarios are ideal and not all applications undergo a threat modeling assessment during their development. But don't worry, not all hope is lost. We shall try our best in order to make our software more secure. So while threat modeling should take place as early as possible, it is still a very useful activity, no matter how close an application is to deployment or has been in production. While an app may have reached the end of its development cycle, you can still pick up threat modeling within the support cycle. And threat modeling always offers perspective into potential risks inside the system. For that, a thorough assessment informs your organization about the current design level security instances of any applications you are going to make or you have already made. Therefore, thorough threat modeling, you sorry. Therefore, Through threat modeling, you are able to make an informed decision about investing further inside the system. When you build a threat model, we kick things off with a component diagram. And you must know component diagram inside the software engineering, or maybe when you learn URL diagrams, you must know there are different types of URL diagrams, and one is called component diagrams. Others are class diagrams, object diagrams. So this represents major functional components, communication path between those components, and some representation of trust boundaries. So once the diagram has been annotated, you can start your analysis about your threat models you have developed in form of component diagrams. If you knew nothing about the application, you would talk to the application teams and have them describe how application was built. And based on the information given by the application development team, you could create the component diagrams. Second major factors when we develop a threat model is a sharing workload. That means how we are going to share workload. However, creating a component diagram requires little software security expertise. That means you must know secure software development life cycles. It also requires a very good understanding of how the application was built or is planned to be built. And this is the knowledge domains of the application team. So if you are hired to make a threat model, you have to work closely with the application development teams or the team who develop these applications, because they will give you the insights how this application developed. Then you will be able to design threat models using component diagrams or URL diagrams. So always application team will still need to describe the system so that the rest of the threat model can be created. Here creation means annotations of component diagram with assets and threat agents. And now you will have a bit more time to do their work since they will not have to create the component diagram, because the application development team are not going to create the component diagrams, not going to create threat models. You are hired as a specialist in software development process, so you need to create the component diagrams and the threat models. Then the bottom lines of threat modeling is not all elements of threat modeling require deep software security knowledge. For example, there is a login application in any Gmail mail applications or any application that require login. So where you have to check the threats of possible SQL injections, and you are going to make the threat modeling of SQL injection inside. Then there you did not need deep software security knowledge. There you can just type SQL query and take the comments and try to pull the SQL servers. By sharing the workload in order to create the threat models, varying degrees of skills can be achieved and more threat models can be created and analyzed. Good luck. Please find flaws in the program you have written till now. So this is a running assignments. You are in sixth semester, so you must have created so many programs. So please try to find the program you have written till now. If someone will submit this assignment, I will appreciate them. This is not compulsory, but the next surprise quiz is compulsory. There, I will test your knowledge of ethical hackings that CTIS people must know. They have completed one course in fifth semester. MSCT people, if they choose application and web security, they must have some understanding of some ethical hacking. They will learn something, and based on your performance, I shall make PPT of lectures of remaining units 1 to remaining lectures of unit 1 and all lectures of unit 2 to 5. So this is the link of your surprise quiz. I am going to type in chat, call me start and tell me you are able to log in or not. If there will be any problem, you may ask now. So start. When you click on this link, it will active for only 30 minutes. Timer will start and we have to give answers of all 20 questions in 30 minutes. Then it will automatically close. I am also going to share in 2000.